And literally from a block away, I see the profile of Lenny Kravitz start driving this really cool Mercedes. And he's just looking, Lenny Kravitz, cool. And I see him from a block away. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to catch up to this guy. So I did about 3 illegal moves, pulled on the other side of the street and pulled right up to him. And I'm like, roll down your window. And he's looking at me like I'm a hitman or I'm a crazy. And I'm like, roll down your window. And he finally rolled down. He like rolled down a little. And I'm like, Lenny, what's up? I was like, funny enough, I was on your Googling all your images of your design work. I said, I'm building 2 homes right now. We have to work together.
Hello and welcome to the Diggs Influencers Titans of Real Estate podcast. I'm your host, Warren Dow. And a brief introduction to our next guest. If the luxury real estate industry had a monarchy, our next guest would surely be considered the king and queen. With over 1.1 billion in sales just last year alone in 2021, and over 9 billion in their career, this power couple continues to write the book on selling one-of-a-kind luxury homes and estates in Southern California, with A-list celebrity clients like Jennifer Lopez, Bruce Willis, Angelina Jolie, Dr. Dre, Cher, and Jeremy Renner, just to name a few. Please welcome to the show 2 titans of real estate, Branden and Rayni Williams. Applause.
Thank you so much for having us. It's an honor, and we appreciate being here today.
All right, likewise. So before we begin, I have a very, very important question I'm going to ask you guys. Okay? It's a big one. So,
I'm nervous.
All right. Don't be nervous. Here it is. Who wears the pants in the Williams family?
Obviously, Rayni. I was just thinking about where my life would be without her. She really helps run a tight ship and lets me kind of be free and do my thing. But she's the brains to the business.
That's a good answer, Branden. Well done.
He's done. All right. He's gonna get a bonus later for that.
Yeah, he's on the good list right now, right? So, yeah. Rayni, I'm going to pick on you first, okay?
Okay.
So you were born in Pittsburgh, right?
I was.
Cool. And then you kind of grew up in different areas, right? Even in Italy at one point?
That's right.
So tell us about that.
Well, my parents are both Italian. My father was an Italian immigrant, and my mother was a first generation. So Italian culture, especially like in New York and East Coast, Pittsburgh, it's very important, more so than here. And so I was always like told, my neighborhood was Italian, my whole family, it was just a very big thing. And I actually had the opportunity to study there. So I moved there for college, during college. And it was an amazing experience. It was in mid-99 or 2000, right around there, when Americans were really revered by Europeans, especially Italians. So I lived in a small town called Urbino, which was the birthplace of Raphael. There was a lot of beautiful art and history, as Italy has it. And there were just people loving this American girl. I was 19 years old, and there was one piazza, and I came through it every day to go to class, and they'd be like, Americana ragazza, like, here I come, like the American girl. And they would ask me what do these Red Hot Chili Pepper songs mean? Like, what does that mean? They would want anything American. Like, tell us about American movies. What do you guys eat? Like anything that I would wear, they'd be like, where did you get this in America? So it's a different time now. When we go to, Europe, it's so integrated because the world has become so global. So we're not that special anymore as Americans.
How cool. What a cool upbringing. So when did you get back to the States then?
Well, then I went back to college a few years later, and then I graduated from Ohio State University, and I came straight to Los Angeles.
All right. And you did some writing, right? You were a journalist for a while?
Yes. I had a journalism degree, and I did some writing, freelance writing, when I got to Los Angeles. That's the reason I came here.
Who did you write for?
I wrote for the E! Network. I wrote freelance for a few different publications. One was called the Domestic Staff times or something. It was quite a wild ride because it was something that I could not support myself doing, but it was my passion. And I had basically an ultimatum from my family around 25 that, you need to figure it out. So I got into mortgages.
All right. Well, we're going to come back to the mortgage thing because it was a different kind of mortgage, right? It was what kind of mortgage? Subprime. Yeah. So Branden, I want to pick on you now. You're a local guy, right? You were born and raised in Beverly Hills, right?
Born and raised. I was actually born in Tarzana, so Valley boy.
Valley boy.
And then I moved around 4 or 5 years old to the Fairfax district where my grandmother lived, and my grandparents owned a shoe store in downtown Los Angeles. So realistically, my roots are around between Beverly and Melrose in the Fairfax district. And then I used an address to go to Beverly Hills school systems because at the time it had the best school systems and special programs for a special guy like me, like learning education. They called it learning improvement at the time.
And I love the story about you. So you at age, 7?
Yeah.
Your dad had a shop on Fairfax, right?
Well, my dad had he had corners all over town, unpermitted corners that he would set up shop on fences and sell. He was an actor, an out-of-work actor, and he would sell cow hides and sheepskins, which in the 80s, everybody had sheepskin car covers on their cars. So we would set up all over town and we would sell on the corners. And if I wanted a skateboard, if I wanted a jacket, if I wanted anything, I would have to, kind of earn it and sell sheepskins. And I got very good at an early age sizing people up because you literally had between 5 and 30 seconds on a corner to engage somebody and really read them and see if they're real or not.
Oh, cool. That's so invaluable early experience on just how communication, right?
Yeah,
communication.
Salesmanship, and I really think that was the base for my salesmanship and really being good at what I do now, which time is everything in real estate. And I mean, clients could just waste and suck your time as we learn as new agents. And so figuring people out, sizing up, and where to spend your time is very valuable.
And so how did you get into acting? You were an actor for a brief amount of time, right?
Well, I still am. Don't have an agent, don't want an agent, but I still, I like to call it street cred. So, I was just in the show called The Offer. I did 3 episodes. I played Gianni Russo's character in the Offer, which was the making of The Godfather. And I got a call out of the blue from a casting director, and I said, why not? So it's the making of The Godfather, and I sold to one of the executive producers of Entourage, and they put me on 5 episodes. But in the mid 90s, I had an agent for about 7 years, and I made a living as an actor, being in teen films like Can't Hardly Wait, Never Been Kissed, Halloween H2O. And I never really wanted to be an actor, but it was one of the best trainings I ever had. I studied method acting, and I really use method acting in sales, in real estate, because method acting is about how do you get to the truth the fast enough. And I really use that technique in sales in real estate. So I've had a lot of great training over the years that I never knew would be for real estate, but it worked in my favor.
It's awesome. You guys are, there's so much cool things about you, and because you guys both bring so much individuality, but together you're like this potent mix of style, sophistication, communication, like all this cool stuff,
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think it lends to your career success too, because you've got so many different tools, if you will, in your tool case, that you can go to. You guys want to talk about real estate, or should we just stick to the other stuff?
Just let's keep getting comfortable.
Yeah. This is, we want to talk a little bit about real estate. So you guys, your numbers blow my mind. I mean, and we've talked, with what I call the Rat Pack, we've made the rounds with Santiago and Aaron Kerman and Joyce Ray, all the like. So we like the numbers at some point don't really daunt me or daunt us, but your numbers are. I mean, did you hit 10 billion yet in sales? Or are you just underneath?
Yeah, 10 bill.
You're 10 bill. I mean, it's off the charts. Last year, 1.1 billion, right?
Yeah, this year I believe we're over 1.1 billion. But for us, it's just about staying hungry and doing the same things that we did when we started, and that's constantly farming, constantly dialing for dollars, staying out there, looking at inventory and covering all bases and strategizing, to basically get there before our comrades or our competition.
So what does dialing for dollars look like to you guys? Because you guys have 8 listings over 50 million right now.
Well, so those aren't just dialing for dollars is calling another agent and saying, this is the best. Why aren't you showing this property? I heard you have a client and this makes perfect sense for your client, and really strategizing and connecting the dots and putting deals together. Or right now, I just had one of my agents, I saw a new development coming up, and I'm like, you need to be there right now. Show up with a package. I want you to be there. I want you to take a picture. Tell me who you met with. If you need me to show up instantly to meet with that developer, this is a new great listing, and I think we should have it. So it's constantly coming up with new ideas, picking up the phone and really using it. I'm from the old school. I don't like emails really. So I like to call people and I like to talk to people and stay connected and have them hear our voice and constantly strategize on what's our next deal, how we're going to put it together. And I think that's really the key to our success. And, I work with an agent all the time, Chris Cortazzo, and I think he does that better than anybody.
Yeah, he does.
So I like to not reinvent the wheel. I like to just, stick with the wheel. And, I like to obviously put different tires on it and shapes and sizes, but constantly creating and coming up with ideas.
No, I love that. I mean, I think that's sort of the lost art in real estate. There's so much shiny new toys in real estate with marketing, whatever. Everyone forgets the fundamentals, right?
Yeah.
And you go back, what's always worked? Picking up the damn phone. It's always worked.
100%.
Style,
or showing up, or meeting for lunch, meeting anywhere, and just staying connected. And we really say, Compasses came up with, we have the algorithm, we have the technology. And at our firm and at the Beverly Hills Estates, and we're a real estate club, we talk about we are the algorithm. No computer is going to take us out.
Yeah, I love it.
To do what we do. A computer doesn't have a sixth sense. A computer doesn't have relationships, can't read people. Okay, and you never know, picking up the phone and going, how are you doing today? And just checking in with somebody's well-being. Who knows where that lens? It goes, oh my God, thank you so much for calling. You know what? Actually, my friend's looking at selling their house, or my friend's looking at buying a house. Let me connect you with them. Just doing the right thing and caring about people, I believe, grows our business.
That's awesome. It reminds me, I was at my 15-year-old's baseball game on Saturday. And after the game, the kids are cleaning the field. It's fall ball, right? And one of the parents came up and, how's business? Knows I'm in the real estate business. And he asked a really profound question. It was kind of like, hey, all these big agents that are in your magazine and you talk to on the podcast, what makes them so successful? What is it? What makes them so, what's their secret sauce? What are they doing different, And I thought about that for a second. I said, the one thing that the similarity I see in all of them, it's like they're master networkers.
Yeah.
And it's communicated for you guys, it's the same with Cortazzo, all these guys, you guys have such a tight network and circle, and your combined Rolodexes are crazy who's who, right? Those are the people that can afford these homes. So it's the compounding of the network, right?
It's staying engaged. It's really staying engaged. And, instead of looking at other agents as your adversaries or your competition, it's you never know when you're going to need a favor or you're going to connect a deal. So it's really trying to stay positive. How can we work together? And I always say, how much money do you make building bridges? A lot more than burning bridges. So it's constantly reminding yourself that.
Yeah, great. So let's go back a little bit. When you guys met, you guys started out at Normand, right?
Yes.
And were you, was that your first stint in real estate, like your first brokerage you worked at? Both of you?
Both of ours, yeah.
Okay. And so tell us how you met.
Tell us, Rayni.
Rayni,
well,
you go.
He told me he was gay and that I didn't have to worry about him.
That was his line, huh?
Very disarming. So I thought I had a friend. That's a true story. But I was at the firm for maybe half a year or so. And then I had a listing because I used to door knock and drive around. And our boss, our mentor,
you still do.
Our boss told us to pick our target area, which is great advice. We tell our agents, pick your target area and become a specialist. So I love Truesdale. And funny enough, that's our target area still. To this day, we love Truesdale. So we live there and we've sold $1 billion just in that neighborhood. So back then in 2006, it wasn't a place that it wasn't desired, right? So anyway, I got this. I went to a construction site. I got a listing and Branden joined the firm and I just had this one listing. And I think I'd closed 1 or 2 deals before. And my cubicle was here and his was here. And I obviously thought he was so handsome and he had a suit on and he was studying flashcards, which I was very intrigued with because he's a perfectionist and he's a strategist and he has this method acting background, right? So he takes every task very seriously, whether it's, taking our kids to something, he wants to know everything about where we're going and the best way to get there and where we're going to eat it. Like the whole thing is everything's strategy with Branden. And so I saw him studying these flashcards. I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing? Like, why is he studying flashcards, right? But he really was doing like sales tips and techniques. I guess you can talk more to that. And then my cubicle was here. I remember he came over to my cubicle. I had a picture of my mother and I. He commented that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I thought that was cute, but it was also an older saying that and I was like this young guy like saying this. I was like, is he hitting on me? Like, what is he saying? And then he said, but you don't have to worry about me because I'm gay. And he scurried off and I was like, okay. And I told some of the girls, I was like, that Branden Williams that just joined the firm. I mean, he's so cute, the gay guy that just joined. And they were like, Branden Williams is not gay. They're like, that guy is not gay. And so anyway, he had a girlfriend, I had a boyfriend, and we became partners because he didn't have anything. And then he had 6 deals and they all popped at once. And the manager said, look, Branden, I'm going to pair you up with this older woman who's going to help you. There's a lot of minutiae to these deals and moving parts, and you've got to get with somebody because you don't know what you're doing. And I said, Branden, I'm looking at his clientele and they're all like young Hollywood guys like himself. I'm like, this woman's not a good fit. For free, I'm going to mentor you and I'll do the paperwork essentially. And he said, you don't have to do it for free. I'll pay you, but that sounds good. The next thing I know, it is all consuming because these deals and the clients, and my manager said to me, Rayni, you can do this, but you will have no life and you will have no career. You will just have to be with Branden. And she wasn't wrong. That's okay.
Oh my gosh. Well, this is real life. We're real. We're live.
That's a client.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, so that's how it started. And so we did these deals and, I said, whatever, give me like a referral, 20, 30%. He said, Rayni, I'm going to give you 50% because that was hard. And he saw, and immediately our yin and yang kind of kicked in. And it's like, it just took over where I'm more nurturing as a woman. It just is the way I am as a mother. I wasn't a mother back then. I was a young girl, but I was like holding the hands of these clients of his where he wasn't going to do that. But he's the ultimate, exciter. He's the ultimate, like you want his energy. He sells something to you, it becomes appealing, and he got them going. And then he's air. He's a Libra. He's an air sign. I'm a Capricorn. I'm an earth sign. I bring it down. He brings it up, and we kind of find this balance. And that's our dance. And that was in 2006.
I'll just a little more. Being more than an ultimate salesman, I think it's about solutions and figuring out problems for realtors and how to solve and fix problems. And I always say time kills deals. And people think, I don't need to actually step up and move there. Listen, most people have places to live, and most people are trying to move up. But I'm really good at saying, you worked this hard. This is what you dreamed of. You dreamed of having a pool. You dreamed of living in a walkable neighborhood or being in this location. Like, let's go for it. You only live once. Like, let's do it. And then figuring out all the minutiae and the problems and, all the inspections that come up when, oh my God, and all these red alarms that basically tell you don't buy this property. You don't need this extra headache. And a great realtor really helps push the deal along and says, yes, you do. This is what you started. Now let's finish it. And going back to meeting Rayni, I was originally went to school for fashion. I love fashion. She has amazing style, and she was wearing a vintage dress. And I was like, who is this cool girl? And she had this great attitude, and she was super cool. And I went up and started talking with her, and she started reciting Wedding Crashers, which is an amazing movie. And that's how the lingo started. And it was kind of like peanut butter and jelly. It just worked and it meshed. And she helped me with my first 6 deals. And then on the 8th month, we met somebody at a restaurant, because we would go to a lot of the hotspot restaurants and meet people and talk to people and engage. And we're doing real estate. People are like, when did you start doing real estate? Weren't you an actor? And I was like, no, I've been doing real estate forever. This is what we're doing. Mm-hmm. But we hit it so fast. We hit it so hard with so much energy, and we dressed the part. And we basically said, let's fake it till we make it. And we believed it. And that's what we've always done. And listen, we're always learning. And we're always trying to connect the dots. And, being a realtor, it's kind of like an actor. You're only good as your last deal. And I hate to say that, but it's like some days, I wake up and I'm like, is this the end of the market? Is this the end of the run? Just because we're human, and that's how our brains go to that. And so you got to stay fresh, and you got to just stay hungry and go, wait, let's go back to the basics. Mm-hmm. And the basics are cold calling, looking at inventory, being a specialist in your neighborhood, and really living and breathing real estate. And that's what we've done. We put all our money back into real estate. We have tons of investment properties. We have homes, and just staying hungry and staying in the gratitude. And I really think that's the power of our success and our camaraderie. We really attack it together. And I was just thinking about Rayni, how many deals she's done in Montecito. She's closing another deal in Montecito. And, I really knew nothing about Montecito, except it was this beautiful place, and it was really far away from where we really work. And it's like, I was thinking about what an amazing agent she was today. Like, wow, she's out in Montecito. It's like, she's put like 7 deals in Montecito together in the last year. And I haven't done one. So it's pretty amazing, like, to have a partner and really realize that, that kind of work. And I get to also take credit for it.
I take credit for all your stuff. So, what I was thinking too about the nuances that we were talking about, what Branden's really good at is like, and I learned so much from him. Like I met him when I was 25. So, and he had all this training. He wasn't that much older than me. He was 30, but he grew up here, and he had the keys to the city, as I always said. Because when you drove around with Branden, he knew the fastest way to get there. He knew the back streets. He knew everybody. And he just, he was born and bred. And so this technique that I learned from Branden, which is part of his strategist mindset, is he finds the product, right? If it's this phone, if it's this, case, and he really embodies it, and he takes it in, and he takes it and he touches it, he feels it, he uses it. So when he walks into a house, he really knows every material. He knows about the fireplace. So when I say he's the ultimate salesperson, it's because he can break that down in a different, like he'll walk in and open a house up and light it up in a way that, sometimes you go in and agents have the doors closed or the blinds closed. They don't have the right music on. He sets the tone, the music, the scent, the touch, feel, every sense. And I learned that from him, and it is something that I didn't really have in me, but it's a deeper way of living life, because if you do that in your business, in your career, and it also rolls over into your life, it teaches you to just not, eat your food, but taste the food. And that, it's like a whole experience. And that's what makes a great salesperson, because I can tell you, we've pulled people out of sales if it was a shitty property, bad location, something that, we didn't believe in. But even though they were kind of like, we love this and we want this, we tiptoe around it. We go there with them. We sit with them for a minute and we're like, guys, we hate to break it to you. And you probably remember this one particular young couple. Remember Danica? But we're sitting there. This has been multiple times. And we're like, we hate to break it to you. We are not letting you buy this. We're going to only sell what we believe in. And early on in our career, we were like, we can take everything that comes our way, or we can take on what we believe and we can go on brand. And then it hurts a little bit more, right? Because you're really putting it out there for this particular brand and holding out for it. But that's what we did. And that's how we created the respect of our clients and friends, and also the brand Williams and Williams, which, is still us. We're just under the brokerage of the Beverly Hills Estates. But that's how we made Williams and Williams, was by believing in it.
I think going on that, the ultimate salesman doesn't mean selling everything. The ultimate salesman means having integrity, working with others, doing the right thing, and then really selling what you believe in. Mm-hmm. And what you believe in is great homes and great deals, or
great locations,
and architecture and lifestyle. And that's really what we do. And, I look at myself much bigger than a realtor. I look at myself as like a massive film director or producer, where you're wearing so many hats, and you have to really, set the tone. And obviously my favorite directors are Scorsese and Kubrick. And it's like, when you watch their movies, there's so many gifts in these movies. Right. So it's like, how could I bring this in? Or my favorite bands, Led Zeppelin, how can I bring this art into selling? And really, I believe when you come into one of our homes, like, I'm not turning on lights and it's already all done. The tone is set. I want to be able to sit back and relax and let people really embody the space and feel the energy and the flow, and then just help point out the positives. And if they have negatives, really talk about the negatives and explore them.
This is what's profound. So this is what's profound. Like, just hearing you guys describe how you work. And what I find really, really cool is, Branden, your acting career, like, you approach these homes, as Rayni said, like the home is the character that you're going to play, if you will. You're going to get into that headspace so well that you are the home, in a sense. You're embodying the spirit and the vibe and the structure and the emotion and the energy and the whole thing. And so when people come into that zone and you're representing that zone, it's like, it makes perfect sense where that energy just, is unleashed. It's really cool. And you guys, what you've done amazingly too, and it's not by accident, is the way you go to market and all the things that you embody, like the music, like the aesthetic, the sophistication, the style, that you look at it like movies, right? It's like, so in embodying that in the market, I call it like market positioning, when you reflect that back out into the market, that's what comes to you. So you wonder why all your homes that you list they're all one of a kind. OMGs. They're all like, these homes are off the charts, and because they're magnetized to you guys because of you follow what I'm
of course
saying, sort of.
And listen, it's not about the number and it's not about the price. Honestly, people all the time, I love $1 million, $2 million homes. I love $600,000 homes. My dream is to own a little 800 square foot A-frame somewhere in the, I love all different homes and everything. But you're right. Homes really are the movie, and it's how do you tell that story, and what is this story going to tell for your family or your lifestyle? I mean, a home really says a lot about you, and the more you embrace it, the more. I mean, if you look at our homes, you'll be like, wow, like, you guys, we just had a birthday party for our kids, and they came over to our home, and we live in this really cool mid-century that it's a brand new home that we built in Truesdale, but we basically gave it the ultimate homage to Truesdale. And Truesdale is where
Yeah,
What?
that's Jack Charney, right? So,
Yeah. But
I did my research on you guys, but I
What?
want to hear the story because I love your home. Saw pictures of it. It's you know it's absolutely Williams and Williams, like duh, right?
Thank you.
But what the cool thing about the story was, who's your interior designer and how did you meet that person?
Okay,
Tell us
so
the story.
this is a great story. I went on a journey of stylistic, and I have an eclectic style. And if you study Truesdale was full of artists, full of entertainment, full of producers, and these artists and entertainment and producers, and it was mixed between, entertainers like Elvis Presley or Frank Sinatra or Danny Thomas with all of these different colorful characters, Ringo Starr and all these people that lived there with the producers and the directors of Hollywood, which, were these really cool people. And they went on all these different safaris wherever it was, if they were filming a movie or going on a show in Asia, or if they were going to Africa. So if you looked at a lot of these old homes, when we were showing them, they still had all of these nuances of these different places that they brought home, all these different artifacts with this mid-century style. So I was going on a journey on what interior designer could help me, bring this to life. And I came, and this one interior designer was like, "Oh, you would love Lenny Kravitz." I'm like, "Lenny Kravitz, the musician?" She's like, "Yes, you would love his style." So I went on and I was Googling his stuff for 3 hours, 4 hours until 2:33 o'clock in the morning. The next day I'm driving through Beverly Hills, and literally from a block away, I see the profile of Lenny Kravitz start driving this really cool Mercedes. And he's just looking Lenny Kravitz cool. And I see him from a block away. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to catch up to this guy. So I did about 3 illegal moves, pulled on the other side of the street and pulled right up to him. And I'm like, roll down your window. And he's looking at me like I'm a hitman or I'm a crazy. And I'm like, roll down your window. And he finally rolled down. He rolled down a little. And I'm like, Lenny, what's up? I was like, funny enough, I was on Googling all your images of your design work. I said, I'm building 2 homes right now. We have to work together. And I said, I'm building 2 really cool things. And he was like, call Kirsten right now, who runs his whole firm. Text her, run the profile. If it makes sense, let's do it. I call her. I tell her where the locations were at, tell her the idea, everything. And she was like, okay. And Lenny was in town for the Hunger Games. And he was like, let's meet up at the sites. And I showed him the sites, my one in Truesdale and our Stanley house. And he was like, let's see if we could work together. And I thought he was going to send me, and this was our first home, and we didn't have a lot of money. And we were like, and he gave us a really reasonable number. It wasn't cheap, but it wasn't like, I thought he was going to charge us for doing a rock show for $3 million.
Yeah.
And he gave us something that was, reasonable and super cool. And his firm was in New York, and Kirsten, who was running the office and running all his design firm, was amazing. And we instantly vibed, and we were like, let's do this. We're in. And did it have its challenges with working with a rock star and working with a firm out of New York City? But we made it work. And I think we came up with 2 incredible projects, one of them being our home.
What a great story. I know do you guys do other projects together as well?
Lenny, we did the Stanley house, which we broke a record. It was 10 blocks east of Fairfax, and we sold it for $33 million, which was our development. It's 1894 northstanley.com if anybody wants to check it out. Sold a few years ago, but it was spectacular. It was everybody's favorite home, and it was a modern home, but very organic, Brazilian, organic, modern. And I think everybody saw that home and now is doing more woods, more organic materials instead of the shiny, stones and the shiny chrome and the very, kind of in your face modern.
The luxury market has been the last 5 years just over the top, right? Like crazy, right? Look at the developments and stuff. So, and you guys represented the one, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. So let's talk about the one, because the one was supposed to hit at 500 million, or it did hit at 500 million, right? Did it actually hit the market at 500?
It never actually hit at 500. It was never actually on the market at 500 million. There was talks of it being 500 million. And then it went to, was it 250 or 300? It was so many different numbers.
I think it was 288.
288, and then it ended up with the long and sort of the saga, but it went to auction, right? It sold for what, 141?
It sold for
141.
No, it was
141.
Was it? Yeah, 140. I thought it was 147.
No, 141.
Okay, so the problem with the one is incredible, but it had no C of O, certificate of occupancy, and it was a couple years from being, and people were the Bel Air community. So we were selling. Come to find out, the certificate of occupancy was it was much longer, and it was going to cost a lot of money to get there. So we could have achieved, I believe, the 250 mark, but it was just, who wants to buy a house with all the unknowns, and that's why it went down to 141, which was still the second largest sale of the time, and it was an incredible property, but it still wasn't completely finished.
What's the largest sale right now?
177 in Malibu.
In Malibu. Was that last year?
That was last year, and then we currently have the sale before that, which was 110.
Right.
The Peter Morton property in Malibu, which was only around 8,000 square feet.
Do you think like, where does this end? Like, do you think these mega estates, is there a ceiling where it's just like, okay, really a single family home, no matter how big and how lush and lavish, is going to top out at 200 million? Is the sky the limit?
Well, there's rumors right now of a sale going down, and I don't want to say because I don't want to spoil anybody's, and I'm hoping it goes through for 265 million.
Here in SoCal?
Yeah, here in SoCal right now.
Wow.
With an incredible property, and people go, "Oh, is it worth 265?" And I go, "Yeah, it is. For what this guy went through, where the property is, and the architect, and all the colorful characters involved in it. Yeah, it's worth 265."
Yeah, well, it's funny. Price is what you pay, value is what you get, right? Warren Buffett.
That's right.
And the thing is, if you're a billionaire, like, price is totally not even relevant to the conversation. It's like, if this is me, if this is the one, like, I'll pay what I'm going to pay. And if it's 300 million, 350, it doesn't matter. It's like, I'm going to get it.
I think people that have been very successful understand it better than ever. And it's basically, it's the time you have in life. And when somebody has worked on a project, let's say this one that's going for 265 for 11 years, 12 years, it's been a 12-year project and probably cost them $150 million. And now they're selling it to, it's like the amount of work, plus it can never be done again. It's really quality of time. And I think wealthy people understand, like, God, okay, I understand why they're asking a premium. I mean, you could work on an app for a year or two, have no inventory, not really build a massive structure, and sell your company for $4 billion or whatever it is.
Well, yeah. And what's the value of 12 years of time, headache, hassle, dealing with the city, dealing with the permits, dealing with the back and forth, like 12 years of complete and total utter migraine? What is that?
And you could go bankrupt during the property.
Yeah.
It's like you have to put it during the process. You have to put up so much money. I truly think you're not going to see these big of homes in the future. First of all, Los Angeles and Southern California is cutting down on the size you can build on. And with inflation and the cost of these homes and the time and the brain damage, it's just, it really doesn't make that much sense anymore. The homes aren't catching up to the values of most of these properties, what it really costs and really the time it takes. And that's how I sell. I always say, well, let's look at it. Okay, so if you were just to buy this property, it's, the property is a $10 million property. If you were to build this home, just hard cost, not soft cost and not cost of money, just hard cost. Let's say it's $1,000 a square foot and it's a $10,000 home. Now you're at $20 million. Now let's say soft costs for architecture fees, permits are $1.5 million. Then the cost of money, because you probably have a loan, let's just give it another $2 to $3 million. Okay, you're at now $23, $24 million, and they're asking $30 million for the home. Plus the time it took 6 years to build it. Like, if you really break it down that way, And you're like, and then this person sold their tech company or in finance and are with, X amount of dollars. You're like, do you not want them to make money too?
And the risk, and also, like Branden said, you can lose it all during the process. So the person as residential builders, since we've crossed over that line and have done it, you realize the big profits don't come from the residential developers unless they're doing it in big numbers, like Niall Naomi was doing it in a time when he was doing it in bulk. And but now with the taxes, even if you're 1031ing, you're getting majorly hit on the resale of it, because let's say it takes you all those years to build, great, you're past the 2-year mark, but you're still paying 40% in taxes.
With California state tax. And now they're trying to implement the homeless tax over $5 million. Do you know about that?
No, I didn't hear about that. So
yeah,
what
there's
is
going to
that?
be on the bill over $5 million, a 5% homeless tax of anything over $5 million sale.
Wow.
So,
at one time or
yeah.
On every sale.
New tacked on to every sale. So on top of your 13.3 state plus your capital gains.
Anywhere in Los Angeles County. It's very serious.
It's very
pretty
serious.
Crazy.
It's really scary times. And right now, if you really look at the big mega homes that are being built, there aren't very many over 30,000 square feet anymore. And there were a lot of them that were being pumped out. The 924 Bel Air Road, the Bruce Mikowski house, and the next door to that 908 Bel Air Road, the Dr. Raj Kanodia's house, which we have both of those. And there have been, the one on Chelan that became famous for Dan Blazarian living there. There were a lot of these homes with that kind of square footage. And now with, first it was the mansionization, then it was the hillside ordinance, and now there's, then it was the dirt haulaway, that they're cracking down, and you're really not seeing homes over 17,000 square feet anymore. So these one-offs and the one and these other very big homes are going to be like Picasso's, because you really can't build them.
They're fine art, and they're one of a kind, and they're the value's in the eye of the beholder, right? So it's absolutely. What question for you? What's the difference of selling like a $5 million listing, okay, and a $50 million listing? Like, this is more to the agents who are listening to this, who are scratching their head with these numbers, talking about 100 million, and they're in Dallas or something, and their market's topping out at 900 or $1 million. What's the difference, like selling a $5 million home or 50? What's the difference?
Well, a $5 million home, they're probably not going to cut your commission. You're not going to have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in marketing, potentially get fired. And I mean, I love $5 million homes. I love $1 million sales. I love $2 million. When you take on these big homes, it could take years. It took us 3 years to work on 924 Bel Air Road. It took us years to work on the one, and we put so much money and time and investment. It's almost like a big trophy with not a lot of money behind it. So it's not as glamorous as everybody thinks it is. But does it help your resume? Does it help, like, you're the guy that sold that? Sure.
Yeah, Branden's right.
And the equity.
And they, everybody tries to cut your fees down. There's several brokers usually involved. There's referral fee. I mean, the list goes on. It's not as glamorous as everything.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great for the brand, right? It's brand equity. It's cachet, but it's not where the money is. And it's more trouble almost than it's worth at the end of the day. The balance sheet at the end of the day is like, got a lot of earned media, a lot of PR.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and you get jaded, you get spoiled because you see the best of the best, and it's like, so you kind of sort of don't get as excited when you see other things, but we still get very excited to see pure architecture or beauty in any level. But it is interesting why 1% of us do 100% of the high end, because you have to have the capital to back a listing like that. And brokerages aren't going to do it for you. We spent, on the Minecraft house, we spent $300,000 marketing it.
Yeah.
So interesting. So question for you on this. So, and what did that sell? That was like a $77 million?
$70 million sale in 2014, which was huge.
Are you guys impressed with my my knowledge here on these?
I'm blown away. I'm like,
come on, man.
Hey, how do you know all of this?
Are you a realtor?
What's that?
Are you a realtor?
No. I'm a media hack. I have to be, my knowledge is my source of income. You know what I mean?
Well, if you ever want to come join the team, we'd love to have you.
Hey, don't tempt me, okay? Might be there.
We are.
I could just move the media side of my company, and we could just
Let's go. Let's go.
We could go. Be rock stars. And it's funny. I'm a musician myself. I want to ask you guys about music and bands, because I look at the same thing. When I started this company, it was all about music. It was like creativity.
Amazing.
Got to have that vibe. Got to have that soul. Most of our guys here are musicians. Our team. Are musicians
see the guitar in the background.
Yeah.
It makes our office is catty corner to the Whiskey A Go-Go, the Sunset Strip. I got to experience it since I was a kid, and I got to see the real Sunset Strip in the late 70s, the 80s, the 90s. And to me, it's kind of the holy grail of Los Angeles. So our firm is called the Beverly Hills Estates, but we're on Sunset in West Hollywood, catty corner to the Whiskey A Go-Go. And I tell people, like, do you even know what's gone down on these streets? The history that was made.
God. So guess
the doors were broken right there at the Whiskey A Go-Go.
I used to sell ads for BAM magazine.
No way.
Yes way. Back in the heyday of BAM, Gazzari's, that whole
whole thing. I went to Gazzari's.
I've got that cool poster, and I have a little studio in my garage where it's Gazzari's, it's Tower Records. You know that sunset, that thing? It's so cool. Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast. We have to do another podcast about the Strip and the good old rock and roll LA days.
Rayni she came here in 2001. Well, she got to kind of experience it, but I mean, it was just like, it was so beautiful, man. It was such a beautiful.
We play a video of the Strip.
Yeah, back in the 60s on one of our TVs of a car driving down the Strip and all the music clubs
and I got a million stories would be in BAM, but when I was in school, I went to Santa Barbara. We used to drive down to the Strip to see bands. Yeah. And when Guns N' Roses came out with their first record, 87, Appetite, we were at Gazzari's, and we walk out of Gazzari's. Axl Rose comes out of the door, and we go, dude, you're Axl Rose, yeah. And I go, your record, it just came out like that week, and I go, it's huge, love it. Can I get a photo with you? He's like, normally I've got a photo guy. I don't let anyone take. So he goes, yeah, you're cool, man. I'll let you do a photo. So I got a cool photo of me in 87, like when Appetite was hit. It's just like, that's what the Sunset Strip was. You're going to meet all these crazy cats just cruising around, right?
Everywhere. I remember growing up in this area and seeing Billy Idol riding around on his motorcycle, no helmet, bleach blonde hair on his Harley, the Strip. Yeah. I remember seeing Motley Crue on their motorcycles driving around, using it as their. This is where they were going, running errands. It was insane.
I know. I
miss those days, man. Don't get me started. Seriously, don't do it. I'll start crying.
I know. Me too. So Zeppelin, Rayni, what's your vibe with music? Are you a rocker or what are you?
I love rock. I love everything, from rock to rap and everything in between.
So hip hop, old school, new school. Which one?
Old school.
Yeah.
Old school and new school when I'm working out.
Nice.
But Branden and I love all the same things. So that's one of the things that brought us together. We always said we love the same fashion. We love the same music. We love the same architecture. We always have music playing in our clubhouse, in our office. Our house, our home always has music. And every time we're selling a property, we have the right music that fits that property.
Here's what we have to do. We have to evolve. We'll co-promote this, okay? Your next big bomber that you bring out, let's get a really cool band and throw a party with a killer band. I
love that.
Right?
I would love that, yeah.
And it's invite only. And so this is, don't tell anyone. Oh, we just did. We'll talk about it later.
Maybe we can get Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah, that's a good one to start. Totally. How are you guys on time, by the way? I want to be sensitive to that. We're getting close.
I have to be in math. What time is it?
It's 10. It's 5 to 10, 12.
Ooh, I have like 10 more good minutes.
Okay, cool. So we can. Do you guys have? Just in terms of like, I got a million questions. We could go for forever, but obviously we can't. Tell us a funny, can't believe it happened type story in your career with real estate. This is what I'm sure you got 1,000 of them.
There's so many funny stories that happen every single day where you're just like, and I think really the key to life is recovery and how we recover and how we act. And obviously there's times where you're like so many times with me is the weather. Like I'm going to Malibu to show these properties right now and it's overcast in Malibu right now. And I'm just like, ugh, drives me crazy. Like I want to do this beautiful sunny day and it's like this June kind of gloom weather right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that weather for some reason really affects me and it drives me crazy. And but I know I just have to show up and be the ray of sun. But I mean, in terms of, and I think recovery is the key in life with anything and making it a positive and not, letting this bum you out. Cause there's a million different things that could go wrong where you think these people, it's the perfect house. They're going to buy it and they walk and they go, it's not right. And they walk right out. I mean,
we have a great classic story of we couldn't believe it was happening. It was like one of our first big deals. We were just going to lunch with a friend that had invited us to kind of network a little bit. And we were at the Beverly Hills Hotel at the pool. And the three of us are eating. And I look over and I see these like a big bodyguard looking kind of guy, like a really beautiful woman, looks like maybe a model, some children that are of Asian descent, and a man who's kind of like rocker looking and cool, like funky, but you see it in LA, so he wasn't that distinct, but they had setup sheets in their hands, MLS setup sheets. And I'm like, Branden, they got setup sheets, because Branden is so outgoing and he'll talk to people. And that's how we've made a lot of our business, is just by talking to people. So he goes over and starts talking to them. Go ahead, take over.
I just was like, where are you guys from? Because I love to know where people are from, whether it be a part in Los Angeles, whether it be, in the country, whether it be, overseas. And they said, France, Paris. I said, oh my God, I love Paris. It's my favorite city. I was just in Biarritz surfing in France. What are you guys doing? And they're like, we're looking at real estate. And it was so obvious, but I set them up because, I like to create a story. I said, looking at real estate. Oh my God, that's what I do. I'm a realtor and I work here in Beverly Hills. Where are you looking? And they said, we're looking at this house. We're devastated. We just lost it. We told our realtor to offer full price. They didn't offer full price. They offered $100,000 below. We lost the house. I said, what house? They said, it's on Kip Drive. I said, the Orange Mediterranean, 7,800 square feet on a 21,000 square foot lot, 7 bedrooms. They said, how do you know that? I said, I told you, this is what I do. Being a realtor, you got to know the inventory. You have 30 seconds to know your pitch and engage your client. And if they think they know more than you, then you're out. And they're like, oh my God, is this kid a whiz kid genius, knows everything on the market? And that, I was lucky enough, I knew the house. And I said, you like that house? I said, there's something coming up. It's not on the market, because we knew the inventory. And this was early on in our career. And he was like, let's go see it right now. We literally jump in the car, show it to him. The guy walks around, looks at the living room, looks at the kitchen, sees an elevator, throws me a thumbs up sign, sits on the couch, lights up a cigarette, and says, shut it down, offer full price. I said, dude, you can't smoke in here. You're literally going to get us banned from the real estate market. You can't smoke in the house. He goes, listen to my lips. Shut it down, offer full price. At the time, I didn't even know what that meant. I've never heard shut it down, offer full price. And he goes, go write a full price offer right now. This is my house. And it happened to be Johnny Holiday, the Elvis of Europe. And, that was one of the many stories. And that was our first big deal of $5.5 million of us being in the real estate market less than a year. And that's kind of what blasted us off and propelled us. And there were so many colorful characters. I mean, right now, when you ask another story, one time I get a call because I got referred to for Bruce Willis, and Bruce Willis was like, meet me off of Mulholland. I'm like, okay. He's like, meet me off of Mulholland and Coldwater. I'll be on the side of the road. I want to show you this 30-acre property that I own, but you can see it best from Mulholland. So I've never met Bruce Willis before. I drive up there, and Bruce Willis he's like waiting on the side of Mulholland. Like, this is out of a movie, right? And he's just like this, right? He's like, and I'm like, holy shit, this is Bruce Willis. And I love Die Hard. Die Hard's one of my favorite movies ever. And I loved Moonlighting, watching it as a kid. So I'm like, dude, this is Bruce Willis. He's so badass. And this was like, I mean, this guy's a true movie star character. And when you meet Bruce Willis, he's like what he is in the movies. And he's just this badass, cool movie star. And we're literally on this, like, right off of Mulholland on this little side road. And he's showing me the property there. And like one car would come by and he'd be like, step out of the way and kind of go like, go through. And like, he's just like looking at me like almost like he's about to say yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, out of Die Hard. And I was like, holy shit. He's like, okay, man. He's like, okay, yeah, you get it. You're cool. So I want you to sell this property for me. And, so-and-so told me you're a good guy. And it was just, those crazy characters. Another story, when we were negotiating with J-Lo, I got her to spend more because the sellers weren't taking it. She literally pushed me in the chest in the driveway when she first came up. And so I had no idea. She was like, I can't believe you got me to make me, pay more than I wanted to pay. And she pushed me in the chest. And it was just like, there's so many crazy stories of what we do. Or there's another crazy story, and I just have to tell you because I know people like these stories. One day we go into a house off the Sunset Strip, and we're selling the house. Third showing, we walk down the stairs. It's like a 10 o'clock showing, about to sell it to this guy who wants to buy it. And the guy is laying there on a big, oversized rug with 4 girls wrapped in a rug with him in the middle, and they're all naked.
Oh, my God.
It's a true story. And and the guy looks at me, and obviously he had a long night. The girls, and they were so tired, and, they were probably up drinking all night. And he looks at me, and I go, don't worry about us, guys. We're going to keep moving through the house. I go, so here's the kitchen over here. And I just kept going. I'm like, check out the scale of this living room. And I just didn't make it a big deal. Like, holy shit, there's 5 naked people in this living room right now. Because we had a job to do, and that's sell this property. And I was like, hey, this is kind of the lifestyle on the Sunset Strip. This is the allure of it. And because it was like another young guy looking at this like ultimate bachelor pad.
Oh, I love it. Oh, those are great.
These are all too.
So, all right, well, let's get some closing thoughts here and give it a wrap.
I'm gonna tell one more story because you guys are
please.
Okay? Just because I like, and this is a story too. So I meet with Steven Tyler. He always calls me because he potentially thinks about selling his house, and he spent so much time, so much money, and it's kind of his dream house with the most incredible view. And he's like, everybody's telling me to take a loss on this house and sell it. And I'm like, Steven, first of all, where are you going to go? What are you going to do with the money? And you can never replace this again. And whatever these other realtors are telling you to take, don't do it. You're going to lose money. It doesn't make sense. Hold on to this property because over time it'll grow. And if you look at the 50, 100-year graph of real estate, sure, it goes down, but then it goes like this, but it usually grows up. You never see it just tank and stay
the market. Yeah,
exactly. Or like boats or cars or airplanes. It's the one thing we're selling that usually over time, if you buy a good property, it goes up. And that's the amazing thing about selling homes. And so, I go to, and Steven's the coolest guy. And of course I want to sell, Aerosmith's house, but I'm like, don't sell it. Keep this property. So we do that all the time where we try to, and I say, but hey, if you really want to sell it, obviously we'd love to sell it. Obviously we don't want to have you lose any money. So we're going to go, try to get you the most amount of money. But, and I get random calls from Steven Tyler all the time, like, hey, man, thank you so much. I'm going to refer you my daughter. I'm going to refer you this person because, you were the only realtor telling me not to take a loss.
You're playing therapist almost, right? Like, it's okay, okay. Yeah. Is he West Side, Steven Tyler? All these guys?
He's right around the Sunset Strip.
Is he? Okay. That's where
Yeah.
All those guys. Gene Simmons is still at Beverly Hills. All those, there's so much.
Yeah.
It's just wild that the A-list celebrities that live in that.
well, we're also selling my idol, one of my favorite rocks. I probably think one of the best rock stars, frontmen of all time, Ozzy Osbourne's house right now
in Hancock Park.
in Hancock Park.
Nice.
And it's a gorgeous house. Do you want to?
Yeah, it's 501 Hudson, and it's an amazing Spanish, completely redone. His wife Sharon has incredible taste, and it's on the market for $17,500. Guest house, big flat piece of land. It's a steal,
and it's got gorgeous. It's the character of Hancock Park, and just it tells a story, and you could see Ozzy and the Osbournes living there. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I think Ozzy Osbourne, first of all, is one of the best musicians, one of the best frontmen of all time. I mean, Black Sabbath is just like,
exactly.
I try every time I put Black Sabbath on, my mind gets blown. Every time I hear Ozzy or see him, and so to work with these people for us is like, it's the ultimate kind of like, nod from God, like, keep doing the right thing and keep having fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Are they moving? Like, are they bailing California? Have they had enough?
They're going to London. They're going to go to their they've spoken about this, so we're not speaking, out of
I hope they're not. I hope they're not. I hate to lose Ozzy, but he might want to go, retire in England. He supposedly has a really cool castle in England.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure he does, or a few. So guys, thanks so much for spending time. We have to do this again because there's more to cover, and you guys are awesome and fascinating.
We'll do it anytime. It's a pleasure.
I think too, if I always like to inspire agents, and I like to help other agents out, and I love to give back. And our motto is, you can't keep it if you don't give it back. And we're not trying to hold stuff close to our chest. We try to help people, and we help people in deals all the time. And really, I believe it's, overall it's about being of service, helping others, and having fun. And I think that's why we're so blessed and get to work with so many great clients, is because they want to hang out with us. And they're not saying we're just some greedy realtors just thinking about, oh my God, we're going to sell your house, we're going to make this amount of commission. It's like, we're going to go on the ride and we're going to figure it out. And sometimes it doesn't always work. We take on so many listings that we don't sell, or people go, oh my God, thank you for bringing this unbelievable offer, but we decided we didn't want to sell. And you know what? I've never said to anybody a bill, well, like, here's my time, here's how much we spent on marketing. Like, we're hoping, hey, by the way, if you ever do decide to sell, hopefully you'll use us, and we've done a great job for you. But I mean, that's the ups and downs of real estate. So, anyways, thank you so much for having us.